Are you interested in knowing more about the Sana palimpsest? Do you know what the Sana palimpsest is? Welcome back to Variant Quran. This is just a very short status update video in which I want to let you know of what we're up to this week. And as I mentioned to you earlier last month, and then again through some other channels this week, I am having a conversation with Asma Hilali, who has worked with the Sana palimpsest, one of the important manuscripts, one of probably the most important manuscripts that was discovered in the Sana Mosque in 1972, and that was worked on and photographed, has been since then. And so, as I mentioned before, Asma has agreed to come on and talk with us about her research, not only related to that, but her general research. And I think it's a great thing to have the opportunity to have her come on. So the original plan was to have her here at the end of August or the beginning of September, which is where we are now. And I just had a conversation with her this morning. What we decided to do was to have make a plan about how we're going to go about this and have the conversation. We're going to do it next week, and that will also give some time for you all, if you have questions that you'd like to ask of her and you want to submit those in the comments section below. We can take those all into consideration and put them up there for that conversation that we have and record then next week. And my hope, just by way of background, I want to do a couple things right now before we continue on. So the first one is to talk about what my hope is for talking about this particular manuscript, because this is one that has been studied by several people in fairly good detail, partly because of how interesting and important it is because of its age and because of some of the interesting textual features that it contains. And so I have extended invitations to various of the people who have worked on it. Now, nobody's obligated, obviously, to come on and have a discussion on this channel, but this is a great space for people to talk about these things, I think. And so, but I want to let you know who has done work, significant work on this manuscript. The people who have written on it and researched about it recently have been, Asma Hilali wrote the book, The Sana Palimpsest. Elizabeth Pwin, the wife of Gerd Pwin, is a scholar in her own right and has done a number of publications on the Sana Palimpsest, and they're in the German Inara series. Most of them are published there. Behnam Sadeghi Behnam is one of the other people who has done important work on this. Now, I haven't focused much of my attention on it because, as you can see, many other people have given it a lot of attention, but it is one of probably the most important examples of major, I won't say major correction, but major, well, I mean, if you look at a palimpsest in a particular way, and that's going to bring me around to the second thing that I want to talk about today, is what is a palimpsest. So if you understand what a palimpsest is, then you will know why it is important when we talk about corrections, or if correction is too loaded a term, just the progression of the text, of the form of the text of the Quran over time. And the reason it is so is what a palimpsest is. A palimpsest is a page of manuscript that was written once at the time of original production, and then at some time after that, the entire page was washed off or cleaned off, and then it was rewritten again with new text. And palimpsests do occur in not only with Quran manuscripts, but with other types of manuscripts. There's one palimpsest in the Cambridge University Library manuscript collection that has washed off text that has some Quranic text and then has some related biblical text, and it's actually at a right angle to each other on the text, so one was washed off and rewritten. And so these things happen because, and the reason that they happen usually on a parchment is because parchment is a valuable writing material. It takes a lot to kill the animal and prepare the hide to write on, and so sometimes they would be recycled in that way. The Sana palimpsest is interesting because it contains Quranic text on the lower part, in other words, the part that has been erased, and also has been erased and overwritten in the new, or washed off and then written on the top part. And it's also interesting because that lower part, with the aid of ultraviolet light and other methods, can actually be recovered to a great extent and therefore studied for what it contains. The lower text, that is the earlier text, has among its features are the variant orders of the surahs, so they're not in the order that they are today. And it also contains other interesting textual variations from the modern text, or from the current text. And so it does appear to represent an earlier text type. I'm not going to go too much into this at this very moment because we can have that conversation with Asma Hilali, but I want to prepare you for the subject because we're going to have conversation with at least one of the subject matter experts here next week. And hopefully, if Elizabeth Quinn ever wants to come on, or if Alba Fideli wants to come on, she's also done work with palimpsests, or Behnam Sadeghi, who is also, I'm in regular conversation with him from time to time. All these people are possibilities to have come on here. So we'll see. There's no pressure for anybody, but it would be great to have this channel be a place where we can have this sort of discussion over time. It certainly would be wonderful because I know many of you are very interested in these things, and certainly they are very important for a clarity about what was the early transmission history of the Quran. How did the text, what does the distillation, if we can, let's see how we talk about this, the oral text, if you will, has been distilled into these documents, into these physical objects, and so these objects tell us something about the transmission history of the text. So that's it. That's all I want to talk to you about today. I want to finish up with a comment from an earlier video. The screen name is presumably not the name of the person who left the comment. The screen name is hello, hello, hello. So maybe that is your name. If that's your name, hello, 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 then hello. But the comment is this: very interesting in an age where apologetics is purely about backbiting each other. Your channel brings a fresh of new air with pure education. So it's very encouraging to hear that this channel is being received as a breath of new air, or a breath of fresh air, and educational, because that's what I'm hoping it to be. So thanks again for watching. Sorry for the little bit of a delay, but again, I want to be sure that what we put up here is quality, rather than just focusing on putting out a bunch of videos. I don't want to waste your time, but I hope that when you do come and watch these videos that you'll find that it is quality content. Thanks so much. Appreciate your watching, and we'll talk to you again soon. Bye.